navigating the home buying and home selling process in Central Alberta in today's market. Today, Jason Walls and myself, Shalane Walls, we are going to talk to you about just that. So whether you're thinking about buying a house in 9 days, 90 days, or a year from now, you're going to want to stick around to the end of this video and find out exactly some of the key points that you need to know so you're not leaving money on the table and you're keeping those
dollar bills.
in your pocket. So, Jason, why don't you talk to our viewers about, let's just start them off with some of the basics.
So buying a home, there's a lot of steps within the process, and there's maybe behind the scenes things that we look after that we don't want their clients to necessarily know about. One of the reasons why you want to work with a professional realtor is we know the steps, we understand what has to be done from beginning to end, and so let's get started on that.
So, Jason, what do you think the number one step that we are always telling our clients to do first before you're thinking about buying a home? Maybe not first, because we know you're on realtor.ca and, of course, the Walls Real Estate website checking out houses. But when you walk out that front door, what is the first step that you should have done before you meet up with your real estate agent?
We always recommend getting your pre-approval. And we always recommend going through a qualified mortgage broker rather than through a lending institution directly, because a qualified mortgage broker will take your credit and they will send it out to many different lenders, and they will come back to you with some options, not necessarily just the lowest rate, which of course everybody wants, but also some other options that make the mortgage maybe more favorable. So we want to make sure that that is always the first step. And we have a lot of qualified mortgage lenders that we can put you in touch with.
And since we're talking about navigating real estate in this market, which we know is crazy, Central Alberta's real estate market is really taking off. It is a seller's market in the fact that listings are flying off the markets in literally hours, days, and oftentimes sitting maybe a week, but that's not the normal. But some of the fine print on the listings is that realtors are asking for our buyers to have a pre-approval letter from their lender saying that yes, these people have got all of their documents in, yes, based on their information, they're approved. Now, a pre-approval doesn't mean it's 100% approval, because that is subject to the property you're buying, but it just gives a reassurance to that seller that when you're looking at their property, you are serious and you are approved, and when we bring that offer, it shows seriousness and confidence to the seller. Now, what do you think the second step that we would say in buying a home, finding the right home, would be with us?
Well, obviously we want to make sure we set you up on our search. We want to save you time. Our search will give you the listings as quickly as they come out to us. You'll get them as well, as long as they fall within the criteria that we've set up. And so obviously our next step is to find you guys the right home. We need to know what your must-haves are, locations, the age of the home, the type of yard, which town you'd like to be in. So we really want to communicate with you guys to make sure we're off on the right foot, because in today's market, if there is one that pops up, they don't last that long, like Shalane mentioned. And so we want to make sure that we're doing everything we can to find you the right home within the shortest amount of time.
So much like when Jason and I go into a listing appointment, you can touch on this too, we like to meet with our client if time allows, or definitely have a phone call or a Zoom. We want to have that buyer interview. We want to know, like Jason said, your must-haves. We want to know your pain points, where you don't want to live, what you hate about the area you live in now. We want to know where you're going to be working, what kind of schools you want your kids to go to, because that area is going to dictate where your kids go to school. And we want to make sure that your commute for your kids and your job is going to fit in that crazy morning time. So there's a lot of questions and there's a lot of details that we like to do in our initial intake interview, so that when we do set you up on that detailed search that Jason mentioned, it is 100% tailored to you, and that we can find you the house as soon as it comes on the market, because as we said, they don't last long. So again, we want you to have that pre-approval. We want you to have that search set up that's tailored exactly to your needs, so that when one pops on, we know we're ready to go and we can write that offer if we need to.
And we can do this initial interview either, I think you mentioned, through Zoom or in person. We do a lot of business with clients that are out of province that are thinking about moving to Central Alberta. Hence our name of our channel.
Just like you guys watch video.
So whether or not you're local or not, we can still do all the same interview process and make sure that we're off.
Before we move on to step 3, I do want to talk about that search a little bit. Not only does that search allow you to have real-time incentive over other individuals who aren't working with realtors, because how it works is real time. As soon as an agent pushes enter on a listing to make it active, you're notified in real time. And sometimes realtor.ca can be a little bit lagged, and that's okay. We have the ability to put on there what houses have sold for and if there's offers on homes. So when you're in your search criteria and you're watching a listing that's come on the market, you're going to be able to see when it's gone pending. It's going to have a P beside it. Then you're going to be able to see when it's gone sold, what it's sold for, and in how many days. So you're going to have as much information and as much education on the market as we do. So then when it brings us to our next point, making an offer, you're going to be educated in the market that you're searching in and confident in your offer price.
And it's a major decision. It's probably one of the biggest financial decisions most people make. And so we want to make sure that you're as educated as possible. And we have the tools that obviously help to pass along to you guys so that you do make the best offer and you're confident with what we've recommended as well as what you've researched as well.
So step 3 is one of the most exciting parts, making the offer. Now, making the offer is not as simple as just putting the pen to paper in this market. You know, we need to have some tricks up our sleeve. We need to have our ducks in a row, as some would say, like that pre-approval, our deposits in place, our timelines in place. We need to communicate with each other exactly what conditions you're going to want to have. We're going to want to communicate when you want to move in.
Timelines.
Yeah, so all of those things are really important to streamlining our offer, to making sure that it's not stressful and it is just what we had said, exciting. So Jason and I...
Just one more thing, before I cut Sinead off, is if we are, and a lot of clients are buying and selling, or selling and buying, and so we want to make sure the timelines work. So there's a lot of variables that we have to make sure, not only just the conditions, that we make sure that the condition dates match, possession days match, if you need interim financing or bridge financing, things like that. So if you're buying your first home, that's great. You don't have to worry about that side of things, but a lot of clients are buying and selling. And so not only making the offer, but you have to make sure that kind of stuff is taken into consideration as well.
Yeah, exactly. So when it comes time to make that offer and we have all of these details ready, Jason and I also do our own market evaluation on the property to make sure that we feel the price that is listed at is a competitive price, and it allows us to go in with an educated offer. Of course, the price that you want to offer is up to you, but Jason and I also want to make sure that we have given you all the details, done all the research, because we do the research, so
you don't have to.
And we just want to make sure that our offer, when we present it, is full of education and confidence. That is what is going to close the deal for you and get you your dream home. So Jason, why don't you tell them a little bit about what a condition is versus what a term is? Because some people don't know that.
Yeah.
And it's a good question.
It's a great question. We deal with these every day, so to us it seems very simple, but to people that don't know, they just don't know. So a condition, typically the most common conditions that we see is financing, home inspections, sometimes sale of a house. If we get onto the acreages and stuff like that, then there's sewer, septic, water, sometimes there's sewer line inspections within town. So those conditions have to be met and waived by the buyer to their satisfaction. So they make or break a deal. A term is something that they would like to have something done, whether it's in addition. Yeah. So for example, if the seller doesn't have an RPR, which is a real property report, sometimes the sellers will offer title insurance in lieu of an RPR, and so that goes into terms rather than a condition. So if a condition isn't waived by a certain point within the offer, then the deal falls through. So they're a make or break situation on the conditions.
Terms or additions, they don't make or break. They just add details to the contract, which makes the seller and the buyer happy throughout the transaction.
Yeah.
Now, why don't you talk about this one?
So the next step is, after we've got the offer accepted, everybody's excited, and that's really great, especially when we found you your dream home. So then when we got talking more about the conditions, usually the first one is the home inspection. So we have a list of qualified home inspectors that we really recommend, and there's a lot of them out there. The ones that we recommend are ones that we've dealt with quite a few times. They're very thorough, they're very good at communicating what they find, and they make the seller and the buyer feel comfortable with what their findings are. And that's really an important step, because They know what to look for. They can also use thermal guns or moisture sensing guns that can look at the drywall. They can see what's behind it sometimes, as far as if there has been some moisture or things like that maybe the human eye can't see. So they're really valuable to have, and they can't catch everything, and they're not expected to, but they do provide a lot of information on just how the home is operating or how it has been that maybe we don't know about. So the home inspection is really important.
What Jason just said, I feel is the most important thing. What I like to tell our clients, especially some of my clients that are young women or first-time home buyers, it's a great way to get to know your home. A home inspection is not there to pick it apart, tear it apart. A home inspection there is for you to get to know your house. It is for you to know if there's something that you're okay to fix, if there's something that you want the sellers to fix, or if you want to walk away from it. Or, like I also like to say when I'm buying a house, the honey-do list. So there's always going to be things in your home inspection that come up, and if there wasn't, then the home inspector's not doing their job. And they can be simple little things as you need more topsoil around your house so the grading goes away, to major things like the ceilings caving in. So it really does give you an opportunity to, number one, learn your home, and number two, decide if any of the deficiencies that come in the inspection are something that you can handle or something that you need to walk away from and carry on to the next home.
And the inspector that we use, what I really like about them, on top of how thorough they are, is their report. There's a troublesome summary, and there's a green, yellow, and red. So the green things are just things that maybe aren't quite the way they should be and can be looked at and usually are inexpensive. And then the yellow ones are a little bit more that should be done, and red ones are ones that maybe need to be addressed immediately. And so then when we find those out, we can either negotiate with the seller to have some of those items repaired prior to possession, or we can get a reduction in price sometimes. So we do either one, whichever works best for our clients, and that's how we negotiate for them.
The next part is appraisal. So right now in Central Alberta, when you go to buy a home, the lender or the bank, the institution that's giving you the money is going to order an appraisal. Now the appraisal is not on your behalf. It is on the bank's behalf. They want to make sure that they are not over lending and that the property is worth what we have offered on paper. Now, if you're new to the channel and you're new to Central Alberta, back in 2008, we had a major housing crisis where people could ask whatever they wanted for their homes and they were getting it. And then all of a sudden, you can imagine what comes up must go down. And it was terrible. It took years and years for people to be able to get their money back on their houses. So now we have these appraisals. So realtors, when we go to list houses, we are listing them the same way that appraisers appraise properties. So you can be confident and comforted in knowing that in this market, even though it's a seller's market, you're not going to be overpaying for a property because the bank doesn't allow it.
Great. And so it's really a safeguard for all the buyers. They don't want to have to overpay. And it's been that, we've seen that other situation in BC and Ontario where the market has really climbed up and then it is dropping and then people all of a sudden owe more than what the property's worth. So it really is a safeguard, and it's a good thing to have in place in Central Alberta.
Having said that, if you found your dream home and you're into multiple offer and you have disposable cash that you want to go, 10, 20, 30,000 over the list price, by all means, you can do that. It is not our job to deter you from it, but it is our job to let you know that you are paying a higher price than the bank has evaluated it at. And it might take you some time to get that money back. But again, that is 100% okay. We do see it, and honestly, if I found my dream home, I would probably do it too.
And we're seeing more of that just because it is such a seller's market right now in Central Alberta. Properties aren't lasting very long if they're priced properly. Some realtors are even pricing properties a little bit under list price in the hopes of getting multiple offers. So that's again where Shalea and I can come in and with our expertise and our history and understand where we maybe need to be. Because when we know we're in multiple offers, then all of a sudden our pricing is always going to be at or above list price, and that's just the norm. But when you haven't been involved in one like that, it is really hard sometimes to know what price to give. And so again, we both do our CMAs. You get two for the price of one with Shalea and I, and we'll give you our best advice, and then from there we follow your direction.
I just want to rewind a little bit back to where we talked about having a mortgage broker or a banker. If you're not sure who you want to use, Jason and I, we have that book of industry professionals that we will be able to provide you with 3 lenders that we trust and work with all of the time that will take great care of you. And we encourage you to call all 3 of them and see which one works best for you and which one is going to help you reach your real estate goals. Now, let's move on to Jason's favorite part.
closing the deal.
Yeah!
That's always the exciting part. So once your financing has been approved and your lender's giving you a letter of approval, then the home inspection, once we've dealt with the home inspection and everything is good with that and we're happy, then we waive those conditions. And if there's a sale of a house, those ones we have to make sure they're all waived, and then we're closing the deal. So financing is approved. You then have to meet with your lawyer. Again, if you guys don't have lawyers, we have 3 or 4 really great trusted lawyers that we recommend, depending on what you want to, how you want to deal or who you want to deal with. We always give 2 or 3 options to everybody because it needs to be a personality match for sure. But that is one of the most exciting times when you get to the closing.
And if you're worried about what lawyer fees cost, don't worry. We do the research, so you don't have to. We will pick up that phone to the lawyer that you have chosen. We will call them. We will give them the purchase price and the details of your offer and ask for an all-inclusive price. I mean, you can feel free to do that yourself. It's just an extra service that we like to provide for our clients as well. Now, the final part of closing the deal, which is my favorite part,
Yes.
giving the keys on possession day and giving the presents, the moving gift, the smiles, the photo with the sold sign. That is what makes our job so special, is seeing that light up on that possession day.
I always like to have the keys over. I never open the door. I always let the clients open the door, and it is really neat to take everybody's pictures. And everybody goes, "Oh, we look like terrible today. We're moving." And we're like, that's absolutely the way it should be. That's what memories are made of. So it's such a big deal on possession day. You worked hard. You saved a long time. You searched for homes. You went through all the financing and all that stuff. And possession day is the day where you finally get that new home.
So if you want more information about what the process is like in greater detail, you know what to do. If you need to like, subscribe, but you can call us, you can email us, you can text us anytime with any of your questions. Comment below. We will get back to you right away. We want to make sure that if you're thinking about moving to Central Alberta or you're thinking about moving to home, that you call us and we can give you all of the information and all of the answers to your questions so that when you get here and you're ready, you're feeling confident and excited and ready to go. We're gonna switch lanes, and what are we gonna talk about now?
What do you want to talk about now?
Obviously, the home selling journey. So we bought a house. Of course, you're gonna sell the house, and maybe you haven't thought about the selling the house, but Jason and I probably will knock on your door and say, "Hey, have you thought about selling your house?
Do you know what your house is worth in today's market?"
Hey, we have a buyer for your house."
You know, it's crazy. We are actually door knocking with clients this year. We are finding we have so many buyers. There's not a lot of inventory. And so we're going back old school. We're doing door hangers. We're knocking on doors. We're showing when we do an open house. We go to all the homes around the neighborhood and ask them if they know of anybody they know that might want to move into such a neighborhood. So Shalane and I are really going back to really the basics to try and find people homes, because we'll go for sale by owners. We'll do all sorts of things that we need to in order to help our clients.
Yeah, exactly. So just like buying a house, selling a house involves many steps, and which include marketing. Jason, we need to market your home. We need to price your home. We need to go negotiate. We need to talk about the legal steps. But Jason, why don't you talk about pricing the home? Because that is really the key component, one of the key components of listing your home. So how do we decide the price along with our client, of course?
So the pricing, I always tell everybody, is really, even with all our years of experience, it's the hardest part of our job. Right now, we look at all the actives and all the solds within the same relative communities, within the same town or communities. And it's really important for us not only to look at what is currently actively for sale, but more importantly what the solds are, because in sold prices are more, what's the word?
That's how appraisers that's how appraisers appraise their homes. So apples to apples based on what's sold. No, the bank doesn't care what your neighbor's house is listed for. The bank's going to care what your house sold for. And then they take that and we try to compare, is there a fireplace? Is the square footage the same? Is there a garage? Is there 5 bedrooms up? Is there a swimming pool? We don't have many of those here, but you get the idea.
So it is really important. And pricing, we will always recommend, depending on the market, when we send our reports, there's always a low, medium, and a high price. And
It's
most
very
clients
important.
will say, we always want the high price. And of course, Shalane and I's job is to get you the highest price for your home. But how we market it sometimes varies, and we sometimes pick the lower or the medium price rather than the high. And there's various reasons to do that. And we would definitely explain all of those with you when we get ready to list that house of yours. And ultimately, it is your choice, but we will give you our recommendations on the price that we feel it based on what we found, and we'll show you exactly how we came up with that price.
we can't tell all of our tricks on here, or you're not going to like and subscribe and call us. So you know what you got to do. Drop us a comment, give us a call, and we will tell you all our secrets. So step one, you decided to list your home. You called Jason and I in. Maybe you haven't, but you probably have. And what is step number one?
Number one is getting your home ready to sell. So there's so many times there's a honey-do list that you've lived in your home for years and you've just kind of gotten used to it. Well, all of a sudden, we want you to declutter, or we want you to paint, or we want you to clean, or things like that. So really, the minor repairs and touch-ups and the decluttering, those are some of the things that make the biggest difference. Because you want, when somebody walks into your home when it's listed, you want them to have the wow factor.
Yeah.
And so all those things are really quite inexpensive for the most part and make a huge difference, because your first impression is always your biggest one.
And also, to touch on that, how do people buy houses now? Online. They're on their computer. They're scrolling realtor.ca. They're searching out realtors. So if your photos, and our professional photographer does a great job, don't look great, and you maybe have left the toilet seat open and your towel on the floor, or your teenager hasn't cleaned their room. I mean, those are all fine things if you want to, but people are going to scroll through. But if you have this shiny, beautiful picture, you know how we are as humans. We're going to stop and look at it. We're going to click on it and enlarge it and envision our own things. So picture day is very, very important. We want to make sure that that house sparkles as the best of our ability. And sometimes that means we have to move the cat tree into the kitchen to get a picture of the living room. And that's fine. Jason and I come on picture day with the photographer and help navigate that so you don't have to.
Picture day is definitely the most important day. And that's why we hire professionals to do those for us. That's not our specialty, and we want to make sure we're providing the best service we can to our clients. So both the measurements, photography, the 3D tour of your home, that's all done by professionals, and that's what we want to make sure that we're presenting your property the best we can out to the marketplace.
Also, we like to do our social media content on that same day. We don't want to have to drive you crazy and keep bombarding you with our smiley faces. So on picture day, our photographer comes in, does her thing, we do our thing, we do all of our video content, and then we can strategically place it in social media and our platforms where we see needed. So that is what gets your house on the market. And Jason already talked about pricing, so we probably, if you want more information on that, give this guy a call. He'd be happy to go
she's pretty good at it
into
too.
detail. So the next part, we've got it on the market, we've gone over the contract, we've gone through it line by line, we've got the house ready. Now what happens?
Well, now we get ready for the showings. And right now in Central Alberta's market, when we go live, typically within hours, we've got showing requests. And so Shalane and I make sure that we set up a group chat within both of us as well as our clients, and we just make sure that the showings are working within your schedule, whether you have small children that you have to work around, or school pickup, or jobs, or whatever it is. And then we'll also do an open house. And you know, a lot of realtors nowadays don't do open houses, but we really do see the value in them. And we get the information out to your neighbors who maybe know people who know people. But those are kind of the two things we do, is with the showings, we make sure that they work within your schedules.
So something exciting that we do provide that I don't think many other realtors in Central Alberta have.
Should we tell them about that? Oh, sure, go ahead.
It's the Magic Box. And if you want to know what the Magic Box is, you're going to have to list with us, or you're going to have to give us a call and like and subscribe. But this Magic Box is truly Magic Box. And we come with you, come sit down with you, go over this phenomenal box of goodies that's going to get your house sold. You're not going to want to miss out on what that is. Maybe we'll have a video on what that actually is down the road, but if you're going to want to see that video, you're probably going to have to like and subscribe.
It really is a marketing genius, and it's one of the reasons why we're with LPT Realty, is it's unique to the LTP Realty's brokerage. And it is kind of old school, but we'll go into that in another video, or when you phone us and we'll come show it to you. But it really does it markets your home just so much better than what a lot of other materials are. So it's great. So
since this video is about navigating real estate in Central Alberta in this market, when you get your house listed and we get an offer come in, I can almost guarantee you're going to get more than one at a time. Now, this is something that, if you're not a trained professional, there's mistakes that can be made when dealing with these offers, making sure they're dealt on time and according to our rules, regulations, and laws. So this is why it is important to hire a real estate agent in this market right now. Multiple offers and dealing with them is key because there are so many tiny things that could go wrong that could get you in hot water, and nobody wants to be in hot water. So Jason and I are industry professionals. Jason's been full-time at it for 9 years, almost 10, and I'm almost 20 years. So we know how to handle these multiple offers. We'll sit with you, we will go over them all, we'll talk about the scenarios, we'll talk about the different ways these could close, we'll talk about the different ways they could go wrong. So the time and detail and attention that does go into multiple offers is very, very important. We want to make sure that when you list your home, you are working with an industry professional who knows exactly what they're doing.
We have, typically I would say, it would maybe be two to five offers would be maybe on a multiple offer, but we've actually heard as many as 24 just recently in this market. So when you get into multiple offers, it really does add a different dynamic because there's a lot of choices and you have to take the good and the bad for each one and pick the best one. And so it's overwhelming for a lot of people. And so it's important that when you're doing that, you have somebody in your corner. And that's what we'd like to offer.
So something else that we offer is, I'm gonna get my prop, a lot of behind
The
the scenes stuff. So when you list and buy with us, and any realtor, there's so many behind the scenes things that happen that we have to deal with. And I like to call them fires or hurdles. And we don't want you to know what's happening behind the scenes because you would just be stressed out, and that is exactly what we don't want. So Jason and I closing a sale means we have to deal with a variety of things. We're talking to the mortgage broker, we're talking to the other realtors, we're talking to the lawyers, we're going back and forth about things that have popped up on home inspections. Oh, delays in financing, or oh, maybe we didn't write something right in the contract, which is, gonna bite you in the butt down the road. There are many things that have to be done behind the scenes in order to get your sale closed.
Our key goal is at the end of the sale, go, oh, your guys' job is easy. That was simple. That's exactly what we want all of our clients to think, because we don't want them to know all the behind the scenes thing. Because of Shalane's experience, I call her the best firefighter in Red Deer, and that's not putting out actual fires, but it is putting out real estate fires. So if there are some challenges, which a lot of transactions have, she is the best one at knowing who to call, who to talk to try and get them resolved.
Oh, thanks, Jason.
And at the end of the day, we just really do want you guys to think that it was easy, and that's our goal.
So whether you're moving in
9 days,
90 days,
or a year from now,
we want to help you. We want to be those people that get you into your dream home and get your house sold for top dollar in the shortest amount of time. But we do the research so you don't have to. But Jason, let's just recap this video quick, and if there's anything that we talked about that you want more information on, you know what to do. Call us, text us, email us. We're there for you. Let's recap it.
We get calls and emails and texts most days from people that are just asking the same questions, and so it's one of the reasons why we have our channel is to answer those.
Yeah, we love helping people just like you.
That's right.
So let's recap on this video. So buying and selling involves many moving parts. We get that. There's so many details that go into each one, and none outweighs the other. You need an industry professional or two, just like us, to help you.
Yeah, we're happy to be here, and really, it's like if you want to do a renovation, you don't do it yourself most times. You hire a professional because they're doing the job that they do every day, and it's very simple for them, but it's not for a normal person. Same with us. So there's so many moving parts, and we want to make sure your interests are looked after and you're getting the best price for your home, or you're buying for the best price on your new property.
And we want to make sure you're not leaving money on the table, and we want to keep those dollar bills in your pocket. So a good real estate agent like Jason Walls and Shalane Walls, it's not hard to find. We're right here.
All right, thanks guys. Take care.